Hello and welcome to the Moto Mash, brought to you by the Midweek Mashed Tattie Sportscast. I'm your host Harvey. With me, as always, is Michael and Paul. How are you doing, lads?
Hello.
Very well. Had to sing that one.
Aye. Very, very well indeed.
I feel the need to put a bit of excitement in life after a very straightforward race, my friend. So I'm just going to sing now and again.
No bother. No bother at all. Just before we get into the F1, actually, have you seen that Ferrari are entering into Le Mans for the first time in
aye.
50 years? Well, that's actually not true. They entered like in the 90s, but what they mean is their factory car, I guess, is what it's.
All right, so like an actual car.
No. You'd think that, but no.
Explain.
That's the terminology is all over the place at Le Mans, but aye, it's like the top tier then. So for the first time in 50 years, Ferrari are putting a works sports car in to compete.
Single seater, sort of rocket kind of number.
It'd be it's classified as a Le Mans hypercar, I think is what they call it. It's going to be like a 4-wheel drive twin turbo V6.
Sweet.
So looks like Ferrari's back in Le Mans.
Some I've never ever watched in my life.
Le Mans?
Never ever. What's it like? You ever came across it?
Aye. Watched it a few times.
Just alright.
Damn. Paul.
Yes.
Get that Googled.
What? Actually watching the Ferrari car?
No,
Hold up.
the Ferrari car.
Hold up.
Aye.
Wait, yeah.
Aye. If you look at that bad boy.
Jesus, man.
I'm on it. I should have been on it. Oh, sweet Jesus! That is. Yep, that's
the
something.
Ferrari F190 P.
Oh my!
Awesome.
Oh, that is Jesus. That's like when you're 10 and you draw a supercar.
Piece of machinery. That is a fucking fantasy car for a child, man.
Gran Turismo, because fucking, what do you call it? Concept car. You know, you always get these mad fucking cars like little rockets in Gran Turismo. Wow. Nice.
She's a beaut.
It is indeed. That's gorgeous.
Aye. So it'll be interesting to see how they perform in the Le Mans this year. Well, 2023, but aye. Michael, you watched Le Mans?
I've never sat
Watched
and
the thing.
attempted to watch a full race or anything like that.
Not.
Nah, I mean neither.
Which, I mean, that would be a serious undertaking. You know,
that's a commitment.
Massive, ridiculous fan. Aye. Even to try and do it in I don't know, 4 hours a day, have it recorded or whatever, and try and put no. No, so I've not done that, but I have watched stuff about it, kind of mini documentary type things and videos and clips and stuff. Yeah. The thing that always comes to my head first is the horror crash for I think it was the 50s, 60s maybe.
Oh,
it's either the 50s or the 60s. Don't know if you've ever seen it.
Oh, man.
It's one of the worst crashes in the history of motorsport. It's shocking, man.
Probably have.
There's actually there's video footage of it on YouTube, man. You can see bits and pieces of it.
You know what I always... oh, sorry, when you go, fella.
Crazy.
I always think of that cinema advert with Alan McNish. You ever remember the one? Obviously, it was when he won Le Mans 24. I think it was part of the Honda team, so it was like a Honda advert. And I always remember it was on in the cinema before the film came on, and it was him talking about the physical toll of driving in a Le Mans car, like one of these supercars. Like it would send your heart rate to like as if you were effectively running for 2 hours. Like, do they do like an hour long shift or something inside the car, something like that, innit?
I don't know if it's
Or is
fixed. I think it varies. I
Just
think they
depends, aye.
do their own thing to a degree. Aye. I mean, there's probably, I'd imagine they'll have rules in place like the maximum amount of time
Aye, that you can do it.
you can go for or whatever. But yeah, I think generally speaking, they go for an hour or two at a time.
Aye, I think the physical toll is effectively like playing a high level sport. Like it's, I mean, I suppose that's the same for F1 drivers, obviously, isn't it? Like the mental load and obviously the physical toll as well. Like
it's
burning crazy calories.
It's like, do you know what a good comparison is? A long distance runner, right? So Formula One's the equivalent to a marathon runner. Right, and then Le Mans is an ultra marathon.
Sweet Jesus.
I think that so you get 3 drivers, right?
Right.
3 drivers. Pretty sure it's 3 drivers. 3 drivers. Obviously they take it in turns, and no driver can be in the car for more than 14 hours.
God away. That is
across the full race.
Across the full race. Like so.
Just thought I'd clarify
that. So you can split it up into like each driver does 8 hours or whatever. Like it's up to the team to strategize.
Yep.
I mean, I think drivers tend not to go sit in the car for more than 4 hours. So,
right, so you're doing like a 4-hour driving shift, like the way a truck driver would. Basically, like how a long distance lorry driver, like if they're going to somewhere into Europe, they drive for like 4 hours and they have to stop, so on and so forth. 4 hours on, 8 hours off, effectively.
It's like changed now. Like when it was first started, but like back in the day, basically way back in the day, it was a proper marathon. I mean, obviously the cars were different. Like they weren't these hypercars, so that you weren't getting the same G-forces and stuff. But I mean, you still had to have crazy levels of concentration and whatnot. And like they would do longer stints, and I think it used to be 2 drivers, not 3.
Wow,
I'm making that up, but I've got that in my head that it used to be a team of 2.
Probably was at one point.
Once upon a time. But I mean, like, they used to like fucking drive without seatbelts and shit. Like,
just
like, see, like the crash that I mentioned, like back then, that was not even close to being safe.
No, well, that's cars are made so like different now.
Shocking,
like.
Man.
Oh, I think that was the 50s, Michael. Man, I'm sure the one you're thinking of. Well, I believe so anyway. I think it's the 50s. I can vaguely remember it. It's like a big fireball and shit, right?
Aye, the car went into the crowd. It's
God.
55.
55.
Tragedy at Le Mans.
Aye, right.
Aye, basically, what was it? So, going off of memory, one guy stops, has some sort of issue, goes to get out of the car, something like that.
Oh, Jesus.
They basically they come to a stop or whatever, and then it's like the car behind sees it and moves, but then the one behind that one doesn't have enough time to react. It's something like that. Hits it, flips, and then the car cartwheels through the crowd.
Oh God, man, aye, totally different.
Even in like an old grainy video where you can't see any detail, it's brutal.
Aye,
and there's video footage of them. There's video footage of them starting to like kind of clear up the wreckage afterwards, and like you can see the bodies lying in the background and stuff. Man, it's no easy viewing.
No, it'd be terrible. Actually, I'm looking at it,
and I think.
Sorry.
I think they kept racing, didn't they?
Aye.
The show must go on.
I think that's one of the things that I can remember. Like, there was there's like a dead body. I think it was the driver on the side of the road. Like, and he just covered him with a white sheet, and his motors are just fucking
hearing past,
coming past, and like the marshals are like, keep going. Like, it's like, what the fuck? It's like, do you not see
So
what's going on here?
83 spectators, nearly 180 injured.
Jesus Christ.
83 killed spectators.
Aye.
Fucking
mental. I was going to say there that, you know, that during a race, I just read in Men's Health there, you can lose up to 10 pounds of your bloody body weight through sweat. That's fucking how bloody hellish must you feel after it? 10 pound in a fucking day. Dear God, but a weight cut for UFC.
I mean, that's what pound. It's what, 2.5 pounds roughly to a kilogram.
To a kilogram, aye.
And then it's 1 litre of water is roughly a kilogram.
Aye. God almighty, man.
So what did you say, 10 pounds?
10 pounds of weight. Aye. 10 pounds of weight.
So 5, 7. So somewhere between 5 and 8 litres of sweat.
Aye, it's coming out of you, man. Aye, you're going to be honking getting out of that motor, man, and feel pretty bad. Like, that's harrowing, man. You're definitely going to feel that. Fuck.
Right.
I wonder if they like Febreze the motors when they're by.
Oh, they cars must be like the inside of a hockey player's kit bag, man. It must be absolutely vile. Even a nice hockey player's going, whoa. Smell coming out of that door, man. Oh.
See while we're spending time talking about random stuff, right?
Aye.
Before we go to the actual race. Have you ever seen the F1 driving position?
Like how they actually drive?
Wait,
As in, the body position that they're in while driving.
I'm sure I watched something on it years ago, but I need to refresh my memory.
It's strange, man.
Pretty weird, man. So it is.
It kind of makes sense, but when you see it, it's weird.
Oh, God, aye. I see a lying right back effect. You're looking at W, like as if you've had a bloody heart attack. W position.
You're like a turtle fucking stuck in its shell.
God, that can't. Well, I mean, it's bound to make you hella stiff, isn't it, man?
Well, you think, like, I mean, you're kind of leaning back, right? So, I don't know if until I actually do it, but in theory, it should be more comfortable than driving a normal motor. Like, but depending on how padded it is in the bottom, I don't know. I guess like,
I've got it right in front of me now. It's a very unusual position.
That is.
I feel like over time that would hurt the top of your back. Like
your feet. You what? Sorry.
Over time that's bound to hurt your back. Like up at the top. I mean, especially with this year with the porpoising effect, where cars are jutting up and down and up and down. Like, like I can remember, was it Nick De Vries after he had that race with Williams and he was ninth, wasn't he? And he basically couldn't get out of the car because he was that seized. No, I now completely understand that.
Well, since we've moved on to F1, let's talk about the race at the weekend then, shall we? First of all, congratulations to Max Verstappen for winning 14 races in the season. That's now a new record. Bravo.
Absolutely, man.
Later on in the episode, we'll talk about some other records and stuff, but congratulations for that one. So, at the weekend, we were at Mexico. what is it, 2.2k or 2.2 miles? Can't remember which one.
Above
One or
sea
two
level.
above sea level. So it was it was pretty thin up there. Paul, did you get to see any of the qualifying?
None, sorry. Halloween party day with the kids, unfortunately. I missed a lot of it.
That's good, man. That's all good. I know myself and Michael, we watched it, so
Aye.
it's kilometres, is it? There you go.
2.2k above.
Aye.
Which
so
makes sense because I want to say the highest mountains are like a couple of miles high.
Aye, of course. Aye.
Sorry, as you were.
As you
no.
were, my friend.
What was the question? What was that?
No, we were talking about qualifying. So I know myself and you and myself, sorry, we watched qualifying. Bloods, whatever.
Podcasting.
We watched the qualifying. It was pretty good. Actually, it was pretty interesting. So it was one of the things that I just couldn't wrap around my head was Haas. They knew that Kevin Magnussen was changing that engine part. I don't know exactly which part it was. So he was going to start the grid for the back. So instead of them sending him out to help Mick Schumacher, because that would make sense, try and help him get into Q2. They didn't. They just let him go. Mick Schumacher put in a really good time that got deleted because he exceeded track limits. That when you look at it, he doesn't gain an advantage. If anything, he loses time. But hey,
it's a couple of times he's been stung by that.
Drop some. It's a few times he's done it. And the thing is, by the time that they got told, because they're winding down, it was near the end of the qualifying Q1. He wasn't going for it, so then he had to kind of try and warm up his tyres and go again, and ultimately never got that the same time. But it was just strange that they didn't set out for K-Mag to help him, like give him a tow to make sure he got a good time to get into Q2. Surely that should have been in your mind. Like, get one of us as far up as we can, let's try and get some points or something. But no. I just found it very strange.
Without putting the tinfoil hat on fully, would that suggest that their intentions are clear for next season as far as Mick Schumacher goes?
Well, I kind of alluded that to Michael. I was like, it just seems that he's an afterthought. Like.
That's what that tells me.
When we were talking about it, we were saying that like it seems as if ever since the announcement was made that Mick Schumacher had left the Ferrari Driver Academy, week by week, Haas have basically took less interest in him. You know what I mean? It seems as if he's went downhill since then. He's just not getting the chance now for some reason. You know what I mean? It's as if the deal with Ferrari to supply the engine and stuff, like, it's as if that goes a wee bit further than just being a supplier.
Sure. It's just odd, isn't it? Hey, maybe Mick Schumacher's knew for that time as well that he wasn't going to re-sign with Haas. So, maybe that could be playing on him, and maybe that's why he's not getting the performances possibly, that he's...
Is he worth it though, or is he not? There's a question.
What, sorry?
Is he worth it though, Mick Schumacher? Do you think... I mean, we've spoken back and forward over the past kind of year about potential with him, but has he really lived up to it?
Well, he can't live up to it when he's in a... Well, aye. He can't live up to it when he's in a car that he can't prove anything. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I get what you're saying there, but then I point to the likes of George Russell, who, despite being in
I
what was
love that you
effectively a
brought him
wheelie bin, he pulls a hell of a lot out it.
So I was due to use Russell as an example there, because Russell's a guy who is a phenomenal one lap specialist. He's a great qualifier, usually.
Mr. Saturday being the nickname.
He was able to stand out in the Williams because he was getting everything and more that was possible out of that car on a one lap basis. But more often than no, it would follow during the race because it just didn't have the race pace.
Yep.
The thing with Mick Schumacher is he's like a kind of gritty dogfighting style of driver. Like he's wanted to be in there going for overtakes. He's not a one lap specialist. He's not a qualifier. He showed that through like his Formula 2 career.
F2.
His time in F2, he wasn't a top qualifier, but he would win races. So I think that he's somebody that is always going to. I feel like we actually spoke about this before, but I feel like he's somebody that
we have.
He's always going to look. He's always going to look less than when he's in a no so good car that isn't going to allow him to fight during a race. You know what I mean?
Aye, no, that's a fair enough point.
And with it jumping into the race, but you can see in the race that the Haas just fucking fell off a cliff. So
It did say a very bad weekend.
Which we'll get into. Aye. So yeah, qualifying, Mercedes looked good, Red Bull looked good, Ferrari, yeah. George Russell, he was very close to being on pole.
Very, very.
Very, very close. He actually improved on the time that he had set previous, but he, along like Mick Schumacher, actually for the same corner, got his time deleted.
Right.
And again, that corner that they went over, there's no advantage. Literally, it slows you down. So I don't know why you'd get in the time deleted for that, but it's just strange, to be honest. Completely strange. And George Russell was very apologetic to his team after qualifying. I think on one of the laps he overshot one of the corners a wee bit when he came out it, went a bit wide, and kind of had the car did a wee dance, lost some time. So he was saying sorry for that because it could have, if that didn't happen, he could have qualified for pole, maybe. I don't know because I don't know the time that he lost, but in his mind, that there cost him the pole. But aye. Anything stood out for you in qualifying, Michael?
No, really.
So, during qualifying, actually, is when I found out that Mercedes, the car, was what's the word that I use here? Anyway, their car was responding well to the sea level.
The conditions?
Not the sea level. What?
To
The atmosphere? The environment?
The atmosphere.
There you go.
Yes. Fucking hell, atmosphere. Aye, so the Mercedes car was responding very well to the atmosphere up there. So it turns out the thin air. Obviously, I'm not going to get into detail about it because in no way qualified to. But
You ain't no scientist, man.
no, basically what they were saying is the way that the Mercedes car is designed and etc. The downforce and stuff like that. Yeah, yes. The the downforce and stuff. So the thinner air was actually helping Mercedes
So
and making them quicker.
Can I give a very quick rudimentary explanation?
Aye, you can. Aye.
Fire in.
Right. So because it's at high altitude, the air is thinner. The Mercedes is a particularly high drag car, so the aerodynamic design means that a lot of air drags over the car, right? To sort of oversimplify it. So the heavier or denser the air, like being close to sea level, means that air effectively weighs them down more, so they can't go quick on a straight. That's where Red Bull, and it used to be why Ferrari, although Ferrari seemed to be going backwards, but at the start of the season, Ferrari and Red Bull were streaks ahead on the straights because of that fact. At Mexico being so high, with the air being thinner, they don't have that density sort of weighing them down, so they can go that bit faster on the straights. So Red Bull lose a wee bit. Red Bull still have an advantage because they're aerodynamically better, but the advantage is less because of the thinner air.
Yep.
Fair play.
So obviously me and Michael were talking about it off here, and I was like, oh, that's good, because we can actually see a proper race today, and it should be exciting for the day. And then Michael kind of thought a wee bit further and was like, oh, so I'm paraphrasing what I said here, but so today's the race could actually be a false positive for Mercedes. I was like, oh, he's like, aye, because
in terms of the upgrades,
the upgrades, it could look like they're performing better than they are. Because of the I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Aye, you're right. Yeah. So we'll actually have to wait till next week to see if the upgrades are that good. If it was the upgrades that or if it was the air, or a bit of both. So
going. Where are they going? Oh, it's Brazil.
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 I love
It's not next week, is it? It's the week after next.
2 weeks away.
It's it's
the 11th.
It's
not this weekend. No, this weekend. Next weekend.
Next week. Saying it's next week is factual for the time of recording. But
aye.
Aye. Usually when we say that in the podcast, we mean this weekend, but we get confused.
Aye. Yes.
The classic Interlagos circuit. Sorry. Anyway.
Yes. That would be a good one.
Love it.
We'll do that in a bit though. So, aye. Into the race. So, obviously we're starting starts pole. Then you have Russell, Hamilton, Perez, and then the Ferraris. It was a good start, actually, with the race. It was pretty exciting. Verstappen came over to cover Russell, which let Hamilton come up a wee bit, and then Russell had to make a move because he was getting the toe. Slipstream for Verstappen. He tried to make a move. He had to. He had to brake or try and make a move. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. Him and Hamilton came close. Russell in the corner, he had to turn a bit sharper than he would have liked to avoid contact with Hamilton, which then let Hamilton through. And then on that straight after, Perez takes Russell. So it wasn't the best start for Russell, but good for Hamilton and Perez, I guess. Haas just fell off a cliff right for the start. Pretty much everybody passed Mick Schumacher and K-Mag. It's just a disaster for them. You could just see the car was just terrible. So we started racing. Obviously, Red Bull started on softs. and Mercedes started on mediums.
Yep.
Initially, when I seen Red Bull starting on softs, I thought they would probably do a 2-stopper. And
I think it's very likely that was their original plan.
probably. Then Mercedes was going to do a 1-stopper. Well, actually, when you say that, right, the one of the, like Pirelli do the pit stop strategies. They actually had the 2-stopper is the quickest. So you start in the softs, then go into medium, and then on to another set of medium.
Yep.
That would be the quickest. So can I assume that would have been what they were going to do, or probably a soft, medium, soft. But Pirelli had that as like a slower one. So I don't know how they worked that out, but anyway. And then the 1-stopper was medium onto hards. So Mercedes said that they were going to do something different. They would try everything to win. I think Toto Wolff even was quoted as saying that if they had to, they would sacrifice one of the drivers to win the race.
They talked a really big game. They talked a very big game going into the race.
So they were up for it, which is good to see. I actually wanted to see what would happen, and I was kind of hoping that Ferrari, the qualifying was just like a blip, in the actual race they'd be very quick, and we would get to see what I've been waiting for: Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari. Just fighting at the top, like the 6 just trying for overtakes. But kind of didn't work out that way. But it is what it is, right? So into the race on lap 15, did you see Pierre Gasly? He forced Stroll off the track.
Aye, he did. Aye,
when he went.
Aye.
What were you saying, Michael?
He was saying, yeah,
yep.
He was agreeing with you that he saw it.
Yeah. So I can. Aye. So, obviously he's coming the inside and he's locked up. So unintentional. Cool, but he doesn't give Stroll the position back because he gains a position, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then it takes till lap 18 for race control to come back and say, like, he's got a 5-second penalty for forcing another driver off the track.
Yep.
So why did it take so long?
And by the way, lap 13 is actually when it was. So it was that was even longer passing than originally quoted.
What was lap 13?
It
was
was lap 13. I've just seen, because
13.
As always,
right.
I've got stuff playing in the background just to keep me fresh. But I've just went past it there. Lap 13 is when it takes literally. I mean, the amount of things that can go south in 5 additional laps, it's very slow.
Like it seems. I don't know why it took so long for them to. I mean,
insert remark about Red Bull here.
What's that?
The old conspiracy.
But why it took so long? You know what I mean?
The Bull conspiracy.
They tend to make a quick decision if it favours Red Bull.
The old Bull conspiracy.
Aye.
I mean, stop me if I'm wrong, but that seemed incredibly cut and dry. That takes 2 minutes. Looked up, blocked him off. Right, 5-second penalty. Give the place back. How are you sitting for 5 minutes going, but did he? That's unusual, man.
What
5 minutes.
You can see it in real time. You see it in real time. You have folk who are watching all aspects of the race.
Very strange.
For instances like this, who then flag it and say whatever. You can tell in one replay what happened. It would take you, let's say, 30 seconds, if that, to pull up a replay, watch the clip, and say, right, Stroll, or Gasly, he throw the position back. And if he doesn't, then he gets the penalty. But it takes you another 5 laps to come and say, because obviously by that time he's nowhere near him. I think Stroll actually got overtaken by somebody else at that point. So, like, you can't get the position back. It's crazy. I don't know what I don't know what they're doing at the FIA are, honestly. Race control, and that's so strange.
They're a mess.
Say it in a word.
Aye, literally. They are a mess.
Called it.
What's his name? Should call oh God, that film. I've got my broom. What's this? The one with Will Ferrell and Giacomakis did.
Giacomakis, the Celtic player.
Fuck it. No Giacomakis. Zaka fucking Giacomakis or whatever.
Galifianakis, God.
Galifianakis. Oh, Jesus.
George's Giacomakis and Will Ferrell.
Nailed it.
Yes.
Oh, fuck. Anyway, move on. I can't remember the name.
The election. The election. It's the election or the campaign or something, innit? Is it the campaign?
Campaign.
With the baby punch, innit? It's the bit where he punches the baby.
Aye.
The slow-mo.
Aye.
But not a Celtic striker.
I know Giacomakis. Fuck knows why I said Giacomakis. Oh, God.
Outstanding.
Anywho. So I get to a bit through the race, and Max Verstappen comes in for his mediums. And you think, oh, here we go. See what's what here. Because actually they kept him out for longer than they thought the pit window. So the pit window for the softs was like 16 to 22 laps, they said. And he stayed out till lap 26, end of 25, and into 26. So a couple of laps more, not much. He was complaining about his tyres then.
Front left, yeah.
They brought him in. So like, right, let's see what happens here. And in my head, I had Lewis Hamilton going for it and like building a gap. But it just never happened. Like a big enough gap that he could pit and then come out in front of Max Verstappen. But it just didn't happen. Yeah, it did on the mediums for him. I don't know why. Well, Ferrari's a very good car, but Red Bull, sorry. And then Lewis Hamilton comes in for hards like on the 30th lap. So it's confirmed that they're going for a one stop. But do you know what I thought was interesting? Just after Hamilton came in for his hards, George Russell was on the radio saying that he wants to finish on the softs. So I don't know how that would have worked. Because at the time I don't think they had the information that the sauce would actually have lasted to the end of the race then.
I think what he was probably asking for was a two-stop. He probably wanted to go and get another set of mediums.
Mm-hmm.
And then go soft at the end.
Softs. In my head I thought that's probably what it was. But because I couldn't see him going for hards and then going on the softs. That wouldn't make sense. But
just a wee throwback here, a wee reference. Toto Wolff saying about sacrificing the driver and that.
Mm-hmm.
I think they tried to. I think Russell was supposed to stay out as long as possible and slow the Red Bulls did.
Aye.
But he was on the radio whinging like a fucking child. And so they brought him in. They gave in to him again.
No.
So one of the
he wasn't
great
whinging at that
developments
time.
this season is Michael's disdain of George Russell. It's grown,
Actually,
it's
like,
grown.
But
As the
I had
weeks
so
go
much
on.
faith. I had so much faith that he was going to be respectful for at least a season or so, and he was going to learn everything he could, and he would bide his time until it was time for him to, fill the shoes of the sort of the first driver. But he's just turned into an absolute whinging arsehole. Can't be doing at times. It's terrible.
Taking him out heavy in the day, man.
I just don't know. It's, like, I get it. I would honestly get it, right, if Mercedes had been fantastic. Right, if they had the car to compete and he was like in the fight for like second place in the Drivers' Championship, and it was like him and Hamilton were fighting tooth and nail for second place. But it has not been like that at all. Their car has been pish.
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton spent most of the season sacrificing race weekends to do testing, and Russell's been doing everything he can to just finish ahead of Hamilton and moaning at every wee thing and getting worse race by race. I've just had enough of it now. It just annoys me.
But I haven't. I've got an alternative theory on Mercedes this weekend, though. I've got to say. I think, like we're saying,
Right.
I think they did try sacrifice a driver. Is it possible that as the race wore on, that they thought it more sensible to ensure that both cars finish as high as possible going into the final 2 weekends, where they are now only 30 points behind Ferrari?
Mm-hmm.
Which, and I mean, potentially in one
Of
good
course.
weekend, they can chew that up. Like, because obviously, as they've spoke about on the likes of Drive to Survive, like the big money is in finishing as high as you can up that constructors table. And second is obviously better than third. I mean, that is the stupidest, most obvious thing ever that I've probably ever said on here. And I've said a lot of stupid, silly things. But is it a bit of pragmatism? Like, just playing it a bit safe after what has been a very frustrating year and just try to get the best that they can out of it?
Oh, aye, for sure. I think that their plan was to go for it and win the race, and as Toto said, they would sacrifice a driver to win. But as the race went on, it looked as if they weren't going to get that done. So what they've done is they've just did the safe approach and say, right, and we can secure second and third. Well, they thought second and third, but second and fourth. But going by this strategy, I think Russell knew that they were going to do that. I think that's why he went on the radio and said he didn't. Well, actually, by the time that he said that he wanted to go and finish on the softs, they already had the data for Hamilton's car. They were like, oh, because they weren't doing what they were supposed to do. They thought that the hards were going to do. They kept telling Lewis Hamilton they'll fire up eventually. You know, it's just like, I think they said Miami or something like that. They kept telling him that, but so I think Russell wanted to finish in the softs. I didn't want to go in the hards because he seen that they were pish. But whatever. So I mean, as I say, both the Mercedes drivers, like lap 43, the two of them were complaining. Hamilton and Russell, like, these softs are shite. They're naked.
Hards.
I remember Hamilton complaining about performance.
Hards. Sorry, no softs, hards. The hards weren't working. And then they kept just telling him again, oh, they'll fire up.
So,
like,
I've got a bit of a theory, right? I think that the mediums on the Mercedes were performing very well to a point, and the performance they were getting worried Red Bull. So their concerns meant that they went longer than they wanted to. And then they adjusted their strategies to account for what Mercedes were doing. And they made the assumption I think that the mediums were running so well in the Mercedes that they could push for a long stint, potentially right to the end on the medium.
On the end.
And then very shortly after the Red Bull pit it, the mediums on the Mercedes started to fall off a cliff, and they started to struggle with the mediums. And so then everybody had to start adjusting again. And then so the Mercedes have went to the hard, which conceivably was the plan, but I think they wanted to go longer on the medium before they went in for the hards. I think they pitted earlier than what they intended to. And then when they've went to the hard, they've found that they couldn't get the hard switched on. They couldn't get the pace with it.
Aye, the hard was...
And it just really hurt them.
Never shite. Aye, it hurt them. Aye. Could have hurt them a lot more if Ferrari were up and running the way they were. Or even if Perez... That's another thing. Perez... That was so strange. Like, Perez... At one point, he was right behind Lewis Hamilton. Like, he was DRS. He was in DRS zone. But he didn't ever really try to overtake him.
He's probably been
I
told
don't know why.
Tyres.
Well,
He'd been killing his tyres trying to try to get on him.
Of course, that's it with the one-stop strategy, is that if you go too hard, you risk that kind of tyre life.
But I thought that they could have let him go, like, for one lap, just say, right, you've got this lap. If you can't pass him, that's it. I think if he passed him, it would have been a completely different race. I think that would have forced Mercedes, because that was before they changed to the hards. That would have forced them to change to a different strategy. So maybe in hindsight, it was good for Red Bull. They never took him. But you know, but I was like, check, it's his home, it's his home race. But anyway, I digress. And then we had the Ricciardo incident. Ricciardo, not Ricciardo. Okay, there we go. Where he takes out Tsunoda. It's quite funny. The commentator's like, "Oh, they're going to get him back to the pits, and we've got to see if he can get going again." And I'm looking at the motor on the telly, and I'm like, are they seeing the motor for the other side or what? Because there's a massive hole in the side of that motor.
Side panel. Tap that out with a hammer. Can tap out.
Aye. And then, when he pits, they couldn't get the front wing changed, so they were like, done. But Ricciardo, what was he doing? I thought it was, whoa. He shouldn't have tried to turn in there. I don't know what he was thinking, but anyway, he gets a 10-second penalty. And then after that, he just goes in a tear and he just overtaking folk left, right, and centre. So he is. It's like, damn, Danny, where is this coming from?
I know, imagine if he tried every fucking week.
You know what I mean?
Is my only takeaway for it. Like, he's going to be the most frustrating driver on the grid for that, by the way. He's got all the talent in the world, and just doesn't fucking care, to me. I mean, I'm sure he does care, but I feel like he's just got such the wrong mental mindset, like, to be a top driver.
Back. He's just
fucking horizontal.
He's gonna go like the Tsunoda.
Aye,
like him and Tsunoda have a similar.
It's became a job.
They're just like whatever. Like, all days. It's good when I'm fighting and that, but
talent without passion.
That's exactly
Ronan,
it, Mick.
There you go.
The passion just isn't there.
Ronan, that's what it is.
He's like
honestly, man.
Could river dance with the best of them.
Honestly,
never did it.
Ever there's somebody to compare it to, Ronan McCutcheon. Boy, all the talent in the world, didn't give a fuck. No passion.
They'll write songs about that
Still
man in 50
and wins
years.
the world championship. It's like, what you?
They will write songs of that man. The Ballad of Ronan, the man who could Irish dance but hated it, didn't care.
Aye. Honestly,
The
man,
world champion with no
yeah.
fucks to give.
Toured the world,
Aye.
but did not like it. This is shite.
7 world
Hate
championships
this.
or something like that. He won.
Fucking ridiculous.
Don't
That is
know, man.
absolutely ridiculous. By the way.
Aye.
Truly
Flags
ridiculous.
are
God, running the world championships. World championships are coming up in 2 months running. Oh, right. I suppose I better train.
It's absolutely
Everybody's training year round for it. This, he's just
This wee scheme dog
Couple
from
of
your
weeks
cap
before.
just turns up and does it, man. Gotta love it.
Oh, anyway.
Means nothing to anybody but fuck it.
I know. And then
Google it.
Pierre Alonso. Hi, Google it. Pierre Alonso. Did you see when his motor gave up on him? He was, I think it was mixed emotions. He was gutted, but he was furious at the same time.
Furious, what I think.
Smashing motor.
No, just as he rolls into the sunset and see you again, please.
Oh, aye.
As the other drivers go around the bend and he just goes straight.
Mm-hmm.
What, Hamilton in bloody Baku? The old brake fault.
Aye. Yeah, good. Aye. And then right at the end of the race, we have Michael's best pal, George Russell. He's still moaning. He's saying, fucking tire shit, which they were. He said he wanted to box. So they said, right,
Max
we're
wanted
gonna go
boxing.
for the fastest lap. Go for the fastest lap. They put the softs on. He should get his fastest lap, so that was good. So they get the extra championship point for that. Aye. The podium was Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, and then Checo. And I said it would be Max Verstappen, Checo, and either Hamilton or Leclerc. So
No far off, fella.
there we go. The Mercedes, it looked good. I think the tyre choice ultimately let them down. I think the race would have been a lot closer if they had went on a similar strategy. But they went for it with the hards. They were taking a chance, which ultimately never paid off. Unfortunate for them. Aye. But it was a good race. There was a lot of stuff going on through it. So it was exciting. I liked it. I'd rather enjoy the Mexican Grand Prix. Mexican Grand Prix, fucking hell.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good. It was good. Do any of you want to add anything about the race? Or are we all good?
Aye, all good. Just interesting again to see with Hamilton having a competitive car, being a driver ahead of Russell once again. I think that's been the theme of the last few weeks. Is as that Mercedes gets more competitive, the monster within Hamilton wakes up more and more and more. There's probably a lot of frustration in Russell for that, as well as I think we alluded to at the start of the season when Russell was arguably overperforming in that Mercedes, is that he was coming from a situation that he was used to with Williams, where, as you're saying, Mick, he could get a hell of a lot out of something that wasn't very good. And now it's a totally different situation, and you're actually seeing the real talent there, like with Hamilton. When he's got something that's worth driving, by fuck is he very good. I mean, he obviously is very good. 8-time world champion.
We also know now.
7 times, sorry.
We also know now that most of the season, Hamilton spent a lot of time through free practice and even times during races and stuff, trying different settings and tweaks to the aerial and stuff. Like he was basically doing. He was like a test driver.
Which is mad considering who he is.
Russell was just focused on doing the best that he could do, which I kind of get. He wants to prove himself, so you understand that. But Hamilton was only interested in, right, this car's shite, no win the title. What can we do to get this right for next year?
Yep. At times, Hamilton had an extra bit of weight on his car as well. He had like different sensors and stuff on the car.
Yep.
You know, to collect data. So it was a wee bit heavier. So obviously going a couple of tenths slower than other cars. So
like Paul says, there definitely would have been the odd occasion where Russell coming for that mindset in the Williams of scrapping to pull every bit of performance out it. It definitely would have aided them early in the early goings.
Oh, aye.
Where Hamilton's kind of like mentally defeated and he's like, what is this nonsense I've got to deal with?
Can't understand what is going on with this crap car.
He's immediately writ his season off and thought, right, let's just start basically redesigning for next year.
Yep.
It's interesting.
I mean,
the mindsets, because that is a totally different mindset that they have. Russell's just hungry to win and prove himself.
That's the thing.
Whereas Hamilton's
one's coming to the end of his
bigger
career.
picture.
Aye. One's coming to the end of his career, one's just starting his career. So the outlook, the mindsets are going to be completely different. I'm sure at the start of Hamilton's career, he wouldn't have been focused on getting a car.
He would have probably been more single-minded, mate.
Aye.
That's fair.
That's something that kind of grows throughout the years. You can see it in drivers, actually. Well, the top drivers anyway. You can see it through the years how they slowly become intertwined with the team. Whereas before, like when they just come in, it's just like, oh, they're jumping in, they're doing that. But then as time goes on, you see them getting their hands in this and doing all different things and helping the team and being a
Russell said multiple times this year in interviews that he's been shocked and impressed by how involved Hamilton is. He's said on multiple occasions that that's his biggest takeaway for being a teammate with Hamilton. It's how involved you need to be as successful as he's been.
This. Yep, for sure.
He's had that mindset of like, I'm the driver. I'm going to turn up and I expect the best car that you can give me, and I'm going to win a race.
That's,
you know what I mean?
But you see, it's
the maturity and stuff. That's, you know what I mean? It's just that it's a lesson that's up to you learn.
He's saying that throughout the season, like, see how much he's doing with the team and stuff. And to me, it's not quite clicked yet.
No, it's not there yet.
You know,
it's as if there's still an arrogance there that he thinks that he doesn't need to do that, or he doesn't need to yet. Maybe I don't know, but he'll get there.
I don't know.
Like, I mean, the thing is,
it'll click.
Russell, as much as he's annoying me now, or has been annoying me, I still think he's got like all the potential in the world, man. He is a very talented driver. There's no question there. But there's a few things that he could be doing to, take the time to learn. And it just so happens that, you know what I mean, he's paired with one of the best guys that he could learn for, and the sort of stuff that he has to learn in terms of how to be more a sort of team player, not in the sense of, being a Bottas, but in the sense of actually pulling your weight before, during and after the race. No just being a driver.
Aye. It's like the team doesn't win without you, you don't win without the team.
Amen.
So he'll get there. I have faith that he'll get there. He's a good driver. I see Russell. I could see him winning a couple of championships, if I'm being honest. If things go the way they're projected to go anyway, I can see him being a multiple time champion.
I have a slight sort of, I don't know if fear's the right word, but I kind of suspect that Russell could go the route of somebody like an Alonso, where the arrogance and the mentality is just always a problem, and he's good enough. He's really super talented, and at the moment finds himself in a great situation where, like, we know that Mercedes are going to rebound, maybe they don't quite get it right next season, or maybe they come out the gate swinging and they've got the best car by a country mile. But either way, at some point in the next couple of years, while he's under contract with them, they're going to have the best car on the grid again. It's going to swing back to them. And Russell's going to have a fantastic opportunity to win a title. And like you say, Harvey, he might win a couple. He might win more than one. He might win a couple. But then I think there's a chance that then he goes and jumps ship because he's no happy. He's, you know what I mean? He's, for whatever reason, you know what I mean? He's no getting what he wants. So then he tries to jump to Ferrari or Red Bull or wherever, expecting to suddenly be, you know, getting the red carpet treatment and getting everything that he hopes and dreams for, and then it doesn't quite pan out. But I hope that he can learn his lessons and sort of mature. Because I mean, just the thought of having, if Verstappen sticks around, you know, the thought of getting like a good 5-6 seasons of the two of them dueling could be phenomenal for the sport.
Leclerc and all.
And
if Ferrari
potentially Leclerc if he jumps to another team, maybe.
Maybe when Audi come in, they'll smash it at the park and he can go there. Oh God. Anyway, before we finish up here, actually there's a couple more things I want to talk about, so we're just going to move on for the race. Well, actually we're going to so one of the things has to do with the race. So Verstappen obviously set a new single season record, 14 wins. He broke that at Mexico. There's 2 more races to go. So what's the record going to be? Is it going to stick at 14? Is it going to be 15 or 16?
16.
15.
That's the big... You say 15?
I'm going 16.
Mick says 15, Paul says 16.
Can't he see by him, man? Cannot see by him. I just cannot see past him.
Can't see by him.
Yep.
Hey,
dominant.
He could have some trouble next week in Abu Dhabi. Whoa. I don't know. It could be. I'd have to say 16.
Just in a normal world, maybe he doesn't, but he's been so dominant, man. Like,
if the car holds up, it was 16.
Barring issues, he should be winning because there just isn't another car that can touch him yet. And Ferrari have went backwards. They were the closest. They've somehow went backwards. Mercedes are getting there, but there's not enough races left for them to get to a point where they're truly fighting. So,
you say about Ferrari going backwards here. Do you know Mexico, the Grand Prix there? Carlos Sainz finished the race. Congratulations!
Yay!
So in the previous 2 races, he hasn't got out. He hasn't went past lap 2. You know that?
Jesus Christ, man.
That was nuts. Anyway, so on top of Max Verstappen setting a new single season for record for number of wins in a season, he also has the record for the most points in a season. That was held by Lewis Hamilton. I think he set that in 2019. Let's say, with 413. Max Verstappen now has 416. This was Red Bull's 9th win in a row, so 9 consecutive races. That ties the team's record, and it puts them 2 behind the all-time record of 11 wins in a row that was set in 1988 by McLaren. So, a few records there. I do believe that this is Red Bull's best points total as well. Yes, it is.
God,
so that's a record for them. So they're breaking all kind of records this year. So 696. Hi. continue talking about Red Bull. So we haven't got the chance to talk about the penalty. Well, no penalties. What's the word?
Punishment?
Punishment, aye, that's the one. The punishment for going over the cap, which was 7 million fine and 10% of their aerodynamics, a reduction in the aerodynamics time. Whatever. So, how do you feel about that?
It's more than the minimum, but it's no enough in my opinion.
Right. Paul?
I don't know enough about the effects of the aerodynamic testing to comment, fella, I've got to say.
It's big. It is big, to be fair.
The 10% is it's pretty big. But the 7 million, though, I feel that. So, at first, right, so my initial thoughts was it's not good enough. Because the 10%, yes, that is a lot. So it is a 10% reduction in aero time, I think it will be. And then 7 million fine is not enough because the 7 million fine isn't. It doesn't come out of the budget. So they just pay 7 million and they still have a full budget to deal to work with.
Aye.
Right?
I see.
So if you take the 7 million away, from their budget, that's a bit more, right? Because so now they've got 10% less money to spend on aerodynamics, right?
Right.
Because 10% of the time and all that is away, so they can then use that money and pump it into something else, whatever they want to research and develop. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because they're not getting the time. So going in there would cost them, for that 10% of the time that they're losing, it would cost them X amount of money. But because they're not going to spend that money now, they can go spend it on something else.
I suppose that's true too, aye. So, it's no particularly a punishment, it's more of a reappropriation of development. Okay, that is very unusual.
Right. Did you see? Right, this is where it gets absolutely ridiculous, and I'm just like, okay, now I know why Horner was going on about that's too much, whatever. Obviously, you've got to do that anyway. But have you seen why they were over the budget, over the limit?
No.
Michael?
I don't remember, but I did read about it.
Right.
Talk to me.
So.
No, you explain it, because I'll just be waffling.
They were like, so it was, they were 1,864,000 over budget, right? About 1,400,000 of that was because somebody didn't do the taxes properly. So if somebody at Red Bull must be getting fucking fired. So if they had did the paperwork properly, Red Bull would have been £432,652 over the budget, right? Which it's still over. It's not a lot. But then you get into what was it that they were over the budget? What was it they were doing? And it turns out the reason why they were over the budget, I think one of the things was because the power unit, the power unit business, it was understated, right? So they didn't. I think they valued it less or something. But anyway, but then for the most of it, it's costs for catering, social security, some apprenticeships, and then doing some inventories, and then non-F1 activities. So whatever the fuck that means, I don't know. the non-F1 activities, surely they could pay that for somewhere else. Not the F1 budget, but yeah, fuck it, I don't know. But I'm like, how can you be ever budget because you're catering? Like, so it's just parties and stuff. And now it's like, makes sense why some folk were putting memes up about Red Bull had parties and stuff. I'm like,
Max Verstappen really likes his smoked salmon, man.
I'm like, this is why they never budget. Like, what the fuck?
That's just
the FIA have come out.
It's just fuel.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Fuel for conspiracy theorists. You know what I mean? Because they're going to say they've spent the amount they're over on the car, and then they've just fudged the accounts to account for it, as it were.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, but I don't know. The FIA have said that they've done a thorough investigation. They've found nothing that they're like. And there they were saying they weren't trying to conceal anything. It's just literally this mistake on the tax thing. They would have wiped 1.4 million off of it. Like, that's just, that in itself is just fucking ridiculous. How is somebody messed that up? Like, surely, like, you have accountants and shit to deal with that stuff. Like, at the top of the game, like, how do you know if do something to wipe away that 1.4 million?
But then, oh well, I don't know. But the daftest thing is that I don't know when, but at some point, supposedly there was an option for teams to submit their accounts as they were at that time, get them checked by the FIA, discrepancies would be noted, and then that would allow them to be better prepared for when they would finally file.
Finally do it.
Basically, they were getting a trial run, and Red Bull declined.
Aye, of course. Comes right round, bites you right in the ass, doesn't it? Oh, man. Brilliant. I love it. I just can't. I mean, surely you would just do it. Like, all right, cool. Submit it. We've got nothing to lose. This is a free run. Do you know? Like, what is it, the test that you do at school? The mock test, is it?
Prelims.
The prelims. Aye, that's the one. Aye. If you do shite your proper ones, you can appeal and get it. It's like a prelim. Fuck. Oh, man. It's nuts. I mean, but even with that, like, you should. There should be somebody there that would see that. Like, there's folk no double checking things. Like, surely.
Seems like such a silly mistake.
Aye, silly
situation.
Why? Completely. Why? Craziness. So, now they're going to get hurt with their aero stuff for stupidness.
Yep.
But that's on them. I'm pretty sure they'll still have a fantastic car next year. Because it'll literally just be upgrading this motor, so but could have been even better. What will really, really hurt them is if Mercedes go on to win next year by the finest of margins.
Did you see the announcement from Mercedes? I think it was last week they announced it. They made it official that they are not going to continue on with W13 or whatever it is they're calling this car they've got this year. So they're not going to continue to develop that and try and improve it for next year. They're basically coming in with a new package altogether next season.
Oh. Well.
Basically, they've decided that they've figured out where they went wrong in their aero package. So they're just scrapping what they did and using the research that they've did throughout the year on that car to better inform them going into a new design for next year.
Well, hopefully for them.
Aye.
I hope for them that they've figured out what's went wrong in the next, because if they start out next season like this one, oh my god.
The thing is, a team like that, you've got to think that they must be reaching the ceiling of what they can possibly get out of the car they have through. Like, they must have realised that to fix the issues, they have to basically start with a new canvas. Because if there was any way they could get the necessary performance out of that car to win, then you would think they would just throw everything at it.
Yeah.
So they must be pretty confident that they're going in the right direction. But then I suppose they were probably pretty confident going in the direction that led them into this season.
This year.
So we shall see.
I see. Time will tell. Time will tell, old boy. So next week we have Brazil. And I know we've just said, well, myself and Paul pretty much have said that Max Verstappen's winning this season, but how do you think this race will go?
I think
the
Mercedes have a very good chance here. It's hard to know how much of a chance because of the potential false positive, as we spoke about, with the altitude in Mexico, giving that wee boost to Mercedes, so we don't quite know what they were actually getting out of their upgrades. But we've got the return of sprint in Brazil, and Mercedes tend to do, like, throughout the season, they have done better in races than in qualifying. So if they, and obviously over the last couple of races, they've qualified better and better. So if Russell and Hamilton are near the front in qualifying, and then they have a solid performance in sprint, potentially gaining a place, we could have a Mercedes. It's very likely we'll have a Mercedes on the front row. We could have potentially a Mercedes 1-2 going on in Brazil.
Yep. I think Brazil, it's a good track for Mercedes. And Ferrari, I would say. With the sprint, it could be pretty good for Mercedes. So as you said, Michael, through qualifying, if they are up near the top and then during the sprint race, where they've been better in actual race than the qualifying, they can improve on their positions. We could have a Mercedes 1-2. Could be up for a shock. But I think through the race, though, so no, man, this Ferrari, I don't know why, for some reason I think Ferrari will perform well with this race.
Okay.
So Ferrari could spoil the party. But Red Bull, very fast in straights. These two nice long straights here. And some high pace corners, so where they're not going to lose a lot of speed. So that could work in their favour as well. Like, can they build up that lead so when they're going through the corners, like the tight corners, that they're going to keep their place? I don't know, it'll be interesting, hopefully. What we've seen with McLaren, I think they'll have a good race as well. But I expect them to have a good race anyway. Especially that they're only like, 7? I don't want to tell a lie here, so I should probably look it up. But they're very close to Alpine in the Constructors' Championship, so they fight for 4th.
7 points.
It is 7, isn't it?
Yeah.
There we go. So, yeah.
Incidentally,
next week,
Mercedes only now 40 points behind Ferrari
That's I was just going to say. Somebody was
also-
talking about that earlier.
Also, Hamilton's now surpassed Sainz. Sainz has dropped below Hamilton in the drivers' standings.
Yes, and Checo Perez is now ahead of Leclerc by 5 points. So, which is mind blowing.
Yep,
it's boggling. So, there's still a lot to fight for. You know, for the likes of McLaren and Alpine. So we'll see. We shall see. Hopefully, it's another exciting race, and then after that we have Abu Dhabi, the final. I was going to say lap of the season, final race of the season, but aye. I think we'll just wrap up there, lads, unless there's anything that you guys would like to add.
I'm all I had to do it, my friend. All I had to do it.
I did it. Yeah,
I'm had to do it, my man.
I'm all good. If you're waiting for a reply from me.
Michael's all good too. All right then. We'll love yous and leave yous then,
Special
lads.
love yous.
All right. Well, troops.
I'm just leaving.
Lads and lassies. Aye. You're not leaving?
What a lobster dinner and never call again.
A rat lobster. Anyway. Tattie by drive.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.